What's up, everybody? Cole Harvey here with Wise Prander Group at Compass, Florida, and this is Real Estate Kitchen. These papers don't have anything on them. We're going to be sitting here talking to you guys every month with some valuable content, hopefully, centered around the real estate world right here, and specifically kind of that southeastern portion of Central Florida. So like I said, I'm Cole Harvey. I'm here, real estate agent. This guy here to my right is
Clint Wise.
And Tina Harvey.
Tina Harvey, my beautiful mother here. Another awesome real estate agent. We are all working in the same group here under Compass, and have been here in St. Cloud myself for almost 3 years now. Kind of went really fast, 3 or 4 years almost.
Yep.
But I've had so much fun being able to do this and help as many families as I've been able to help. But let's go around real quick, kind of introduce ourselves real quick. A lot of you guys know us already, but we want to, just in case anybody hasn't seen us before. Clint, why don't you?
Yeah, I'm Clint Wise of the Wise Prander Group, and got Cole started in real estate.
Yes, sir.
And met him through a purchase of a home, and then he was like, "Hey, I want to do this real estate stuff." So he, long story short, has made a huge splash in the real estate market here in St. Cloud and Osceola County area, and is doing really, really good. So
keeping the foot
and
down.
recently added Tina to the ranks here too. I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Yeah, I'm Tina Harvey, Cole's mom, and I'm new to the real estate world in reality, in the residential aspect of it. I worked 3 years in a different venue, but saw the opportunity to be able to come work with Cole and have a little bit of fun and sell some real estate. I'm excited to be here and grow with this team. It's going to be great.
We've already had some fun. I mean, we had a listing that one of her houses, and there's some cool stuff. We're going to tell stories. I mean, this whole idea of real estate kitchen and what it is just, my idea is that the kitchen is the soul of the home, and a lot of people, that's what they're after. When they see a home with that beautiful kitchen, it just kind of sets them, some people really look for that kind of stuff. And
it's kind of the heartbeat,
That's what it is. It's kind
everybody
of
likes to hang out.
Yeah, it's where you get fed, you're nourished, the family sits around the table, and so that's kind of what we want to do, is bring you guys in. It's not going to always be in this kitchen. We might be at a different listing. We have different listings up, which we're going to talk about all that stuff too. And
we'll throw some ingredients in there and see what we can cook up, right?
Cook this thing up, man. That's what I'm saying. So this is just the beginning, super informal. So like I said, the way it's kind of going to work today is we're gonna go on the path of home purchasing, or like what the process looks like, whether you're on the seller side or on the buyer side. Specifically, I think we're going to focus a little bit on the buyer side today. Maybe what a pre-approval looks like, and then kind of go through what the process would look like, what it looks like to write an offer, what kind of things will make an offer stand out versus somebody else's. Because things are going to start getting competitive here. A lot of you guys out there have been saying for a long time, since 2019, 2020, hey, the crash is coming. We're just going to wait. Well, here we are in 2024, and things seem like they're about to kind of get crazy everywhere you look. I mean, can I talk a little bit about what you've seen just in the market as a general overview?
I feel like there absolutely 100% has been, a dip in the market. Prices have declined a little bit, but nothing significant, certainly nothing to the standpoint of being able to counteract the high interest rates. And so I think, with housing, and many people are forecasting that housing prices are going to continue to grow over the next 5 years, is what they're forecasting right now, and it's just going to be at a slower rate. So the increase in prices is going to be slower. But no one is really talking about any kind of significant crash or decrease in prices. And I've always held to the mantra that there's no better day than yesterday to purchase if you're wanting to buy a home. You can't ever substitute time for purchasing a house. And trying to time the market, if we could all do that, then I would gladly share the information. We'd all be millionaires.
Exactly.
The real estate crystal ball, if you had that.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. So. No, but I definitely think that we've probably just about seen the bottom of it. There's a lot of rumblings now about 2024 being a very good year for real estate. The feds came out, made an announcement that they're off of their track of their incremental rate increases. So that's good news. And we've actually seen a few small rate drops. So we went from a little over 8% and now we're under 7. And so there has been a decline in rates, and the forecasts are saying that's going to continue in 2024.
Yeah, when I think about that, and I think of it coupled with the time of year we're in, I mean, it's the beginning of the year. What a lot of people like to wait till you get through. There's a natural slowdown a lot of times around the holidays, and as we get into the new year, what do a lot of people want to do? All right, all the excuses that they've thought of kind of fall out the window, and they say, hey, look, now the timing is right. It's a new year. Let's get something new. Let's do something fresh. Not only is that a thing every year, I think, the normal cycle, but paired with the rate news and things, the trending, the way they look like they're going to be trending, which is in a positive direction for hopeful home buyers, then it's going to kind of combine for quite a show.
It is, yeah. I mean, you have millions and millions of people that have put off purchasing or just said, you know what, I'm going to stay put. I'm going to stay where I'm at because it's too expensive. I can't afford it. That, you know, $2,500 mortgage 2 years ago, you know, all of a sudden was costing people almost $4,000 a month. And so, I mean, it priced a lot of people out. And I think if we see rates come back down into the low 5s, you know, high 4 range, all those folks are going to return to the market at the same time.
And that's the thing that we can't tell you enough. We can't tell people, and it sounds kind of like you're trying to be like, hey, come on, buy a house. But it's like, look, this is kind of the same kind of thing you were telling people in 2021. And you saw all the stuff, all the memes on the social media, all the people saying they're waiting for the crash, and this and that. Clint, why is the crash not necessarily coming the same way it did maybe in 2008? What's the biggest difference for people?
A lot of things are different now. Just the process of getting a mortgage, which we're going to talk a little bit about, is
someone's here.
Somebody's at the front door.
It's Real Estate Kitchen. We're in houses.
There you go.
We may be in your kitchen one day. You have a beautiful kitchen. Comment below if you want us to come in here and feature, showcase your kitchen.
That's right. Yeah.
There's people out there that have done some cool things with their kitchen.
There is.
They want to.
Good thing.
Show off a little bit.
But no, what I was saying about the rates is that, you know, I'm sorry, the loan process, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Pre-approval versus
and we're in the middle of
actual, you know,
something.
desktop
I'm
underwritten
sorry.
approval, and this is our stuff, but
Thank
it's
you.
a lot more difficult now to get a loan than it was back then. And there was a lot of, for lack of a better term, shady things that a lot of lenders were doing.
Watch The Big Short.
Not qualifying people like they should have. You say, I want $1 million house, here, sign, you know, and they were just giving these crazy loans, and people were never even making their first payment. They were just getting a loan, and then because of the backlog of foreclosures, it was taking them, you know, a year or two to foreclose. So people were, you know, buying a $2 million house with zero income, no job, and living in it for a year or two until, you know, the bank came and got it. So there was a lot of really shady stuff that was going on. Nowadays, it's a lot more difficult to get a loan. You have to go through a ton of processes and everything. So the vetting process is much more strong nowadays too.
I think that's something, right, that could be a little intimidating to maybe, especially somebody that hasn't been through the process, or maybe somebody that had been through the process previously back in those kind of days, and nowadays
Now they're gun shy
asking
of
for
that.
this. Yeah, they're asking for this or that, but that's where it becomes really important to have a trusted professional, and hopefully somebody that you know, that you like, and that you trust, that's going to be able to stand by you and kind of guide you and put together that game plan that's important to be successful.
For me, I think that it can be so overwhelming because there's so much information out there, and trying to siphon between which one is correct information, what's not good information. It can be overwhelming. So some people get put their head in the sand kind of a mentality going, I'm not going to deal with it. Whereas if they know the right person to be able to entrust with giving them the information they need, because there is a lot out there. And you know, that's what sets apart a lot of different realtors, is the fact of being approachable and feeling like I can ask you any question, you're not going to look at me like I'm an idiot, and that because I don't know, I'm not the expert. So
and it can be intimidating going
sure
that
thing.
person
It's,
thinking that not knowing a lot, but
Yeah.
that's where it just comes to somebody that's just going to be able to sit down with you, talk about your goals, and talk about what you have going on in your particular situation, and kind of piece together the part from there. Clint, you talked a little bit about pre-approval versus pre-qualification versus some desk underwriting things. Can you kind of give me like the base, maybe like the bottom tier of what an approval might look like, at least, and then give us like the top, the best of the best that you would really kind of guide your clients to that direction and say this is going to give you the best chance.
Yeah, so first off, what is a pre-approval? A lot of people, you know, they hear that, maybe they're buying for the first time, they don't know that they even need one. But there are some really good advantages to having a pre-approval.
And this is step one, right? Can
Oh, yeah,
we kind of be
absolutely,
clear?
yeah.
Pre-approval,
Yep.
definitely. Step
Yeah, before you start picking out curtains or patio furniture, or visioning yourself in that new kitchen.
Yeah, manifesting.
Yeah, we would want to put you in touch with a lender who is going to gather several main things: bank statements, tax returns. They're going to pull your credit to get a look at your debt to income ratio, and what that is a percentage, and you can just use 50% as a rule of thumb. Total debt, and that includes the new house as well, the new mortgage. And say you have a $2,500 a month budget, they're going to look at that and say, okay, well, you have a $800 car payment, you have a $100 credit card bill every month, and you're wanting a $400,000 house right now these days with this interest rate. You're going to be looking at a mortgage of probably $3,500. And so obviously you're going to be over that 50% debt to income ratio. So that's what a lender does, is they look at all those things. And the lender that I've used now, Eric Bastian, shout out to him.
Yes,
Fantastic lender. He does a lot of work up front in the beginning, so that if he says you're good to go and he check marks that box and says, yes, we're committing to you that we can give you a loan as long as everything else. Because this is what happens. A pre-approval is not a deep dive into things, right? The lender, a loan officer, is going to gather bank statements, tax returns, pull your credit, all that stuff, and they're going to issue a pre-approval. What that means is that's the bank's intent, that they're going to give you a loan as long as their deep dive, when they put the loan package together and they send it to the underwriter, who does make the final determination on whether or not you get the loan, that's when they do a deep dig into everything, and they make sure that there's nothing out there that they've missed as far as debts go, or you owing someone money or anything like that. Then they issue the final approval, what's called the clear to close. In between those two things is where you go out and you go house shopping, you find the house that you want, and you put a contract on the table. The lender will not send your file for final underwriting without having an address, without having a contract, right? So it's pre-approval. Let's go house shopping. You find one that you want. You write up the offer. You get the offer accepted. Then that contract is turned into the lender, and they go in and they do a deep dive into credit and bank statements and tax returns and everything.
When you talk about that, and not to cut you off, but I want to add on to that point, when you talk about a pre-approval being that look and that first look of everything, but
Right.
not necessarily that complete deep dive into things,
Right.
that's why it becomes even more imperative and more important, because we've all seen it. Any real estate professionals out there have seen deals, somebody had a pre-approval the whole time that thought everything was solid, but when
Right.
that deep dive comes, if the right questions weren't asked, if the right,
That's
you
right,
know,
yeah.
the right attention wasn't paid,
Yep.
then that's when you have that hopes up 5 days before closing, and then all of a sudden, hey, what's this? We didn't even pay any attention to this.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to wait. Or the
And
plans-
just the same as it is to find a
Call Eric.
trusted, just the same it is to find a trusted real estate agent that is going to get you into the house that you want, not push their view of what a house should be onto you. And I always tell people, you've heard me say it, I don't have to live there.
yeah,
It's not my house. I want to make sure you're happy
respectfully.
in the home that you're buying. Just the same as we do that, you really need to find a lender who's willing to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
Because I would rather, one of my clients be told, listen, you're not quite ready. Here's a plan to get your credit where it needs to be, or let's pay some debts
Yes.
off over the next 6 months or whatever, than to take them out and show them 5 houses. They get their hopes up and everything, and then the lender, 2 weeks later after we're under contract says, oh, you know what, we found this issue. Now, we gotta cancel the contract and you can't buy a house, so.
I think that's what's important about finding the right lender and trusting that
Yes.
person, because there are lenders out there that will
Oh,
tell you what you
They
want
give
to
away
hear.
these
Yep.
pre-approvals like candy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they mean nothing. They're not even
Right.
worth the paper they're
Yes.
written on.
And then you find the house that you just totally
Yeah.
fall in love with, and
Right.
then are told, sorry, this isn't going to happen, and why go through all of that emotional turmoil?
Right, yeah.
So when you start out in the
Absolutely,
beginning, sometimes it's hard to hear
Sure.
okay, this is what you need to
But
do.
you gotta know.
But
Yeah.
that in the long run helps you.
They would rather hear it then than
Yep.
to hear it later and feel like they lost the house they wanted.
Right.
You
right.
want to have all those tough conversations day one.
Right. That's
right, yep.
there up front. That way
right.
that you know where you're
Yeah.
going and where you're headed.
And then after your, pre-approval is done, you get a contract on a home, your offer gets accepted, whatnot, and you get into the loan process. I wanted to just bring up a few things to you guys that the lender is going to be asking for, or things that I want to say do's and don'ts, right? So one is don't deposit large amounts of cash or transfer large amounts of money back and forth between accounts, because that will definitely be questioned by the underwriter. Don't make any large purchases, meaning no large withdrawals out of your account while you're in the loan process. Don't co-sign on any loans. A lot of people think that a co-sign is like less than being the primary, on a loan. It's not. You are just as equally responsible
Right.
for that, as someone else is. Another thing too is don't apply for any new credit. So I'll tell you guys a story. One time I had a client that and I told this lady, multiple times, don't go and run your credit for nothing. They're going to see it. They may do another credit pull, because during COVID they were doing two.
Yeah.
They were doing one in the beginning, and they would do another one because so many people were losing jobs or taking out loans to get by. They ended up, doing a second credit pull like just a few days before closing. So I was telling her, listen, don't let anybody run your credit. She goes to like Macy's or one of these department stores.
She needs that discount. Was it
Some-
15%?
That 10% discount?
Some young kid that was getting $50 for every credit app, that he got filled out, convinced her to sign up for a store credit card. And she called me after she got a call from the lender, and she was really tight on her debt to income ratio. And she pulled this new card and got her credit ran and everything, and ended up with this new credit limit showing up, on her account and everything. And the lender said, sorry, that you just disqualified yourself.
If
And
you
we're
know a
we're
story-
only
if you
we're,
know a story like that, put it in the comments.
we're
Yeah,
only like
exactly.
we're only like a week from closing too.
That's just
And so,
yeah.
so even though she didn't have a balance on that,
She
because
put some balance on it too. Yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
enough to put it
Oh, yeah.
over. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
tricky.
So and I had multiple conversations with her about it and told her don't do that,
Yeah.
But I mean,
What about these types of offers that say no impact on your credit? Stay away from all of that type of stuff. even.
Yeah, it's going to impact your credit. I mean, I get asked a lot, from folks, well, when is the right time to have my credit pulled and that kind of thing. And it does impact your credit anytime you do what's considered a hard pull on credit, which they have to do in order to get a full credit report,
Right.
right?
And is it right when you get a pre-approval, most of the time it's a soft pull at the beginning? Sometimes they'll do a hard
No,
pull.
yeah, well, yeah, they do. They definitely do a deep pull.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
a good lender does.
Yeah.
So explain
right,
the
and that's
difference
the-
between
yeah.
a soft pull and a hard
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah.
Then what do you
Yeah,
mean
so
by
a
that?
soft credit pull doesn't go as deep into credit from what I understand, and all this comes with a caveat that you need to talk to a lender. I'm not.
Right.
Right.
I'm not a
And
mortgage
we don't
We'll
lender.
get Eric in
anything.
here.
That's the thing. We
Yeah.
are going to do that, but we
Yeah.
don't get anything either from the mortgage lender. The only reason we would ever recommend a mortgage lender
That's
is
right,
because
yeah.
we know them, we like them, and we trust them. We know they're good at what they do, and we trust that, hey, any deal I put
Sure.
my hands on and my clients are going to be taken care of to 120%
That's right, yep.
above and beyond. So I
Yeah.
want to make sure that you have the best team that possible in your corner.
Yeah.
Right.
If you come up with Joe Schmo from over here, I'm going to get you a house promise.com, with that letter in your hand, that makes me feel like, oh my gosh, let me go in here and make some calls. Let me try to figure out
Sure,
if this is going to come back and bite us in the butt, because it's happened so many times.
How much has that lender dug into their credit
Exactly.
situation?
So
and
that's
stuff,
the
yeah.
only reason. You
Yeah.
want to have
Yeah.
somebody that you know and you like and you trust.
But from the way I understand it, to answer your question, Tina, is a soft pull is like a summary. It's not a deep dive into credit. Some things don't show up on a soft pull that would show up on a hard pull on credit. But from what I've heard from most folks, they've seen their credit affected somewhere around 15 to 20 points by having a lender
Right.
pull a credit pull. Now, most lenders will tell you, and I know Eric does, that once they pull that credit, it's good for 90 days.
Right.
Like they don't have to do it again for 90 days. So as long as you go house shopping, find a house, get through that loan process.
Which
and,
it shouldn't
and
take
everything in 90 days.
If you know what you're doing, you have a
30 to 45 is typical,
Well, and if you're prepared going into house shopping,
100%.
your client that you just
Yep.
closed the end of December.
She called me and literally on the phone, one phone call, then 3 weeks later, we're sitting at a closing table because she had everything together. She had
Sure.
She'd done her due
pre-approval
diligence up
already
to that
there
point.
at
Yeah.
that point when she came to me. So everything was finished. All we needed to do was find the house, and we went out one time and we found the house. She had two that she
Right.
loved and to pick
Yep.
from, but literally 21 days, and she had keys in her hands from her first phone call
Yep.
to me. So
Yeah.
we can do that for you. It's
That's
possible.
right.
It is
and you can do
possible.
it too. That's
Yeah.
the thing. And you have to believe that you can literally do that if you have the right steps in place and the right plan in place and the right people in your corner.
That's right. I would say, all those things that I listed, really what it boils down to is any major changes in your financial situation, credit, anything like that, consult with your mortgage officer.
Right.
Consult with your loan officer and, keep them abreast of the situation if anything happens or changes or anything.
Yep.
Because the last thing you want to do is let them find out kind of on the back end.
Yeah.
And then, you're far enough in the process that you lose your escrow deposit.
This is not a
because,
situation
you
to
know,
ask for
yeah,
forgiveness.
because you,
Right.
you definitely don't want to hide anything. Be truthful on applications. Consult
Right.
with your loan officer. Make sure that they know the situation, and everything. So, but yeah, and then I would say the next thing is mortgage rates and how those affect you with buying power, right? So, interest rates can significantly impact your affordability. We were talking before we came on camera here that, these folks that were paying, $2,000 mortgage, that mortgage now is probably darn near doubled, right? Because the interest rates. So it's just priced a lot of folks out. There was a statement that the assistant vice president of the Mortgage Bankers Association came out recently and said that MBA expects that affordability conditions will improve as mortgage rates decline in 24. So that was a really, really positive statement that was made by the VP of the MBA. It came out and said that. So, and that's what we're looking, hopefully looking for in 24 is for rates to continue to come down, make housing more affordable for people. But understanding exactly how interest rates affect affordability is critical when you're in the market for a house. And just imagine like a scenario of, say you have a budget of $2,400 a month to spend on a home. If that interest rate fluctuates a point, it could absolutely price somebody out of being able to afford, to live in that house.
And if you're that person that may be able to afford, and the only thing is the interest rate, you just can't stomach that 1% or whatever
Right.
that extra thing. Maybe you could do it. You got to keep in mind is when that drop comes, when those interest rates do inevitably come down, because we know it goes up and down all the time. I mean, it's going to be a case of now you're competing with everybody else, like we've said before, that we're waiting for that same interest rate drop. So if you are in a position now with the current interest rates to find the dream home that you want or find the home that fits for you and your family and you can afford it now, then you're in a position to marry the house, right? And
Right.
date the interest rate. So you're not competing with everybody else and you're paying over list like we
Right.
saw not too long ago when rates were so low.
Yeah.
We had houses going $30, $40, $50,000 over asking price
Just
and
to
over
get a
appraisal
contract,
value.
yeah.
When I first started, literally to get,
Yeah.
I felt like to get my buyer's deal accepted, I absolutely had to put in there, oh, we're gonna pay 5, 10,000 guaranteed over appraisal value or up to that.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that as much anymore in a market like
No.
this. You can find a home and you can find it that's been on the market for 50, 60, 70 days.
Well, and now, yeah,
and
I mean,
offer
people
less.
are just automatically putting it in listings, buyer willing to pay 10,000 towards closing costs, because the market has shifted now.
You can get that help. You can
Yeah.
get that help now, but when those rates come back down or whenever that does happen and all the buyers
That's
come back
right.
out, that's when you're going to be paying more. And what can you do if you get a higher interest rate today, but you've got into your house? When rates come down, what can you inevitably do? Refinance, right?
Yeah, refinance.
Just
it then,
refinance your
yeah.
house, then it sure, it costs money.
At least you already have the home you want
And
and
you
you
didn't
didn't crazy
direly
overpay for
Because
it.
that's
yeah.
gonna happen. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if it happens where the rates come down low enough again,
Yeah.
there's going to be Mr.
Yeah.
Smith from New York, and then Mr. Johnson from California over here, and then here's you that just sold your Florida house, trying to get
Right.
into your next Florida home, but this guy sold his for 1.5 million.
Competing against tons of
Yeah.
cash,
It's like-
you know, yep.
It's tough. I mean, it's just tough, but there's a game plan. There's a path. If it's the time for your family and it's now, you find that
That's
out
right,
by
yeah.
having a conversation.
Right.
You know, if you're curious. So.
I want to go back to something just real quick. Touch on what's the difference between being pre-qualified and being pre-approved, because some people think being pre-qualified is the ticket.
Yeah, so pre-qualification is, again, just a kind of like a soft pull versus hard pull. Pre-qualification is I don't deal with it a whole lot because Eric, the lender I use, he deep dives and does a lot of work up front on
Right,
everybody.
right.
Because he doesn't want you out there looking for a house unless he's had a really good look at your financial situation. So, but when you hear those terms in the real estate world, a pre-qualification is very minimal.
Right.
It's like, do you have a job?
Yes.
Tell me
yeah.
how much you make a month, and just verbally tell me kind of like what your car payment is, and that kind of thing.
Kind of
Right.
It's really a very superficial check
Right.
up on things, right?
Right.
And then a pre-approval, typically a lot of lenders will do what's called desktop underwriting. So they'll gather bank statements, they'll gather tax returns, they'll get all the information, they'll do a good credit pull on you, and then they'll send it through a program that's called a desktop underwriter. And that program says, yes, you meet all this criteria. And there's a very, very good chance, if I had to put a percentage on it, in the upper 90th percentile, that you're going to get a loan.
Right.
As long as you didn't lie about anything, that you're hiding, over here in left field or whatever. But those are the differences. Is a pre-qualification is very superficial. A lot of times they're not worth a whole lot.
Right.
Pre-approval means that a lot more work has been done by the lender to get you to that next step, so that less work has to be done once you find that
Right,
house and you go
right.
under contract on it. Now, it may just be a few little updates on, hey, we need this from you, we need another bank statement, we need, some of this stuff, but so much work's been done up front that the process while you're waiting to close is a lot more streamlined. And that's the
Yeah.
way that we like it.
Yeah.
Great.
You gotta love it.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit down in the comments about your home experience, where you're at maybe in your home situation. Have you had you recently purchased a home? Have you been thinking about purchasing a home? Have you been in the rental situation? Just kind of put down below what stage
Yeah, we
you
want to
guys
hear
are
your
in.
stories.
And if you have questions, I want to get questions. I would love to get to that point, because if we're doing this thing, we're going to do it consistently. And if we can get to the point where we're in June, August or something, and there's people out there that have seen enough of this scroll by, and you seriously have a real estate question, and maybe that hasn't been the top priority of reaching out and finding a real estate agent, but you come across the video, drop it in the comments. Let's do a Q&A section, where if we have a few questions, we can sit down and go through a couple of them. So-and-so asked this. And a lot of those questions might apply to you guys too. So this show is just it can be a lot of different things. It's kind of just that general real estate show. We're gonna have some more market data. I wanna have market information about different cities, whether it's St. Cloud, Lake Nona, just this entire region.
Yeah.
That way you guys
Bring
know
some people
new
on, have
listings.
Eric come,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and
Bring in a different
sit
real
in on a
estate
video,
professional.
yep.
Yeah, and have and maybe even some home buyers or some
Sure.
home sellers that are out there that have gone through the process. I'd love to have so they can tell their story, tell how we were able to help solve their problems, or even if it was somebody else and they had a different story, a cautionary tale, whatever.
Right.
The sky's the limit kind of with this, and it's very just free flowing. So
Yep. This is your guys' show.
yeah, 100%. No, yeah, and so we started off with that. We talked a lot about the pre-approvals and all that, and of course, we're not mortgage lenders, but it's definitely a conversation that has to be had up front. And because once you get that squared away, like Clint said, then it's time to go.
Well, I know for me that knowledge is power, and so when I can confidently go into a conversation and start a conversation, even having a baseline understanding of what's going to be going on, that helps me to just be more confident in what questions I'm asking and what direction that I'm taking the conversation. And that's what we hope that we can help people to accomplish, so that when they do start those conversations, or they get that phone call from somebody, they know the questions to ask. as a result of this. That's, you know,
Right.
that's what our goal is
Yep,
here.
we don't want you guys in the dark
No,
out there. We want you guys to be educated on what you're doing so you can be confident
right,
in the choices that you're making.
right,
Yeah.
yep.
One of the things I tell a lot of my clients are on the buying and decides is, you know, there's typically three things that, you know, you look at when you're finding a house. It's going to be the price, it's going to be the house, and it's going to be the location. And in most scenarios, unless you're absolutely made of money bags, you can't have all three of those things. You know, you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. So it's either going to be the house and the location you want, but you're going to have to pay for it. You know, you're going to get
Right.
the price that's amazing, and the house is awesome, but maybe it's not exactly where you wanted to be at. You want to be 10 minutes from the beach. Oh, it's 35 minutes, 40 minutes from the beach. There's always some kind of sacrifice, and most
Right.
buyers are going to end up buying at about 80%. So you have to figure out, when you're looking at these homes and you have a collection of 3 to 5 that you've put on a tour and you're viewing them all, you want to know in your head, okay, you know, what is most important to me? What are the things that I'm more willing to sacrifice on? What is that number one thing that I must have in my house?
Right.
And then you pick and choose and you say, hey, which one of these checks the most boxes for me? Because if you're looking for 100% of what you want out there, you know, those are the people that are looking for
Right,
5,
and a
10
good
years.
agent, a good agent too will kind of guide you through that process, be another set of ears to bounce stuff off of, and
Yeah.
you know, give their input as it relates to what you want,
Yeah.
not what they want. You know, just because an agent thinks that a neighborhood is fantastic, doesn't mean that you might.
Yeah.
You know, you might not think it is, and want to go do, you know, take a look at another area or something. You know, so that's really important that you partner with someone that's going to have your interests first and not their own. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else? I mean, you guys think? I know we've kind of gone on. Obviously, the goal of this is to put this longer form video on the Real Estate Kitchen page, and then split it up and have it going out in reels and things across the different
Yeah.
real estate pages that we have. And the goal of that is to be available and to
Right.
be here to provide value for anybody
Right.
out there that needs it. Because whether you look at it or not, or you like it or not, there's home closings that are happening every day. There's somebody
Right.
out there that that has a problem that can be solved by a real estate agent or a professional,
Right.
like any three of us that are sitting here. And that's the beauty of it. Whenever you get one of us, you get all of us. I mean, all of our expertise is coming together, and we kind of have each other to lean on and
Yep.
a network. Of
No, I think starting with the whole pre-approval thing was really key today, because that's kind of where it does start. So if you're thinking about entering the market and you want to, you know, speak to one of us or you know, talk with a lender like Eric Bastian,
Yeah.
you know, definitely reach out to us and we can help with that. And none of the three of us are the type of folks that are going to, you know, give any kind of pressure into buying a home.
Oh,
or
I've
anything.
literally worked with
And,
people for 2 years.
yeah,
There's a
sure,
guy,
yeah.
Mr. Joe. He has a beautiful home out there in Harmony. And like I said, some people look for 2 years, but they wanted to buy a house in the first month. Some people take that long because there's actual
Yeah.
situation.
Yep.
And there's
It's your
actually-
timeline,
There's
whatever.
actually a
Right.
game
Yep.
plan. And that's what I'm saying. When we get this pre-approval, we have this conversation with Eric, we'll be able to tell, okay, how far away are we realistically?
Right.
How soon are you going to be ready?
Yep.
And if there is, if it's a 6-month plan, if it's a 24-month plan, doesn't matter. If that's your end goal and that's what you want, there's a plan to get on. and
Yeah,
there's
it
a
all
way to
kind of
get
starts with speaking to a lender.
there. Yeah,
And
and what's Eric's number? That's
we
what
are
we're
going to
putting
get
on.
into some other things too, you know, with this about, you know, what happens after you go under contract.
Yeah.
You know, and how can
How to
we,
write a
or
competitive
how,
offer.
yeah, how can we help you write up a good offer
Yeah.
and negotiate that out for you? And then once, you know, you're into the contract phase, you know, talking about inspections, maybe have a home inspector come on.
Absolutely.
Talk
Well, I
about
think
some
even
things, too.
what is the why do I have to sign so many pieces of paper?
Right.
You know, there's a lot of
Little
people that
things,
don't
yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that, you know, what is this for?
Short
So-
answer, because of attorneys.
Exactly.
The law.
That's it. But
Yeah.
you know, so even things like that, just saying this is the expectation. That's
Right.
what our
Get a
hope
contract,
is.
look
Yep.
at it, go through it, whatever the case. We're gonna do all that kind of stuff, and we hope that you guys get some value out of it, and it kind of it clears up
Right.
the real estate world a little bit, because there's a lot.
Absolutely,
It
yeah.
can be a little crazy, and it can seem overwhelming at times,
Yeah.
but there's a way to make it seem simple and break
Right.
it all down to where, hey, this is digestible.
We'll have, Cole, we can put Eric's information.
Yeah,
Yep.
on- on the video, too.
407-257-9848. That's Eric Bastian. 407-257-9848.
We'll have
No,
it posted
yeah,
in
we're-
text
Yeah.
too.
Put all
you
that
know,
stuff up
his
there.
email
Look at
and
it.
phone number and
That's
everything
Eric.
too.
Hi, Eric. Hey, buddy.
I think that would be great having him on here too. If we get
Oh,
some
sure.
questions, that
100%.
are more towards that, it's bringing the expert in is going to be a great thing
Yeah, we're just
to,
here
to
letting you know
do.
it's important. And
Eric's
as a
a
real estate,
23, 24-year
Yeah.
mortgage loan veteran now.
yeah,
So
I mean, he knows what he's doing. Specializing in VA loans too. I mean, he does
Oh,
them
yeah.
all. But if you are a veteran, then he's very well
he
versed
teaches
in that.
classes on VA loans and stuff.
to other
so,
mortgage
yeah.
lenders.
And it
and
doesn't
stuff.
have to be intimidating. It can't,
No.
you don't have to feel intimidated by things,
No,
That,
Nice stuff.
I look at it from that perspective going, is this going to tie me into something I don't want to be in? Are they going to strong arm me into something?
Right.
That's not what we're here for. This is education. And
Right.
like I said, knowledge is power to help equip you.
That's right. When it's your
with-
time, it's
Yep.
your time,
That's
and
it.
we're here to help assist you with that. So
That
Absolutely.
groupthink can get a hold of you, and everybody's saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna wait. Oh, they're waiting. I might as well wait too." But you could have literally had the house that you
Right.
wanted and stopped paying rent. You could
Yep.
be paying your own rent. I mean, it's there. And I guess to kind of seal all this up with the pre-approval thing, as a listing agent on the listing side, if I have two comparable offers come in,
Yep.
one of them has a pre-qualification and one of them has that
He's
pre-approval.
been through underwriting
or
and
that,
stuff,
that agent that submitted that offer wrote in that email they've been through desk underwriting. They've done these things. I'm definitely going to be picking. Obviously,
carries
it's,
more
it's
weight,
no
yeah.
question
Yeah.
that you're going to
Yep.
be going, and that other offer with that pre-qualification stands out
Yep.
way more because you can feel more confident in knowing that, hey, my sellers are going to be in the best
Yeah.
possible position just based on these two offers at $400,000. This guy's got it from www.com. I'm going to get you a house, I swear.com. And then this person has one from
Right.
A
Eric Crochten
pre-approval, yeah.
with a pre-approval and it's been through the desk underwriting. There's
Right.
no comparison
Yep.
to those
All
two.
income's been verified, everything is good to go. It's going to carry a lot more weight. And it's us really too helping you put your best foot
Yes.
forward to
Yep.
get that house that you want. And,
That's
and
one
all
of those
those
things.
all those things have to ducks have to line up in a row, and if it does, then it's a beautiful thing, and it can really help you get the house that you want.
So if you got plans in the next months, the next years, follow this channel, follow all this, and keep staying tuned because there's hopefully going to be a lot of things coming your way that's going to help prepare you for when it is time. And then maybe you're going to be answering all the questions whenever you call us to talk to us because you've looked at so much of this stuff
right.
that you're a professional
That's
yourself.
the goal.
So, yeah, well, hey, a lot of fun. Real Estate Kitchen, it's happening. YouTube, Instagram, it's going to be all over Cole Harvey Homes Facebook page, Clint Wise Real Estate, and Tina Harvey Homes too. So you guys will be able to see it all through there.
That's
and
right.
like it, share it, comment your questions below. And you're going to catch us in another kitchen next month.
Yep, a
And
different
it's
one.
gonna be
Different
fun.
kitchen.
Different
Yeah.
kitchen, different
Different
kitchen,
kitchen.
different month, different
go.
topic, and it's going to be a blast. Thanks for
You
watching.
need another piece of
everybody.
paper to throw.
Yeah, yeah,
I know,
hang on,
that's it.